Hi, I'm Claire.
And I'm Isaac.
We host
Make that
That
game.
Game.
And this is
Gaming News
News and
Updates.
Updates.
All right.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it. Welcome. So this is new. Wow, what's happening? What's going on?
I'm actually not sure. I was just thrown into the recording studio and I don't know, stuff started happening.
Yeah, so we decided to take our gaming news and updates segment and put it in its own like mini podcast. That will be coming out on probably Mondays. So you get all the hot news and hot updates right when you drink your hot coffee on your hot Monday.
So all those times that we've been like, hey, this new sale, this week-long sale is happening, and oh, by the time this episode releases, it will be over by 6 hours. Now they'll have that
At
sweet,
least.
sweet 12-hour lead to go to Steam and get 25% off. Perfect.
Yes.
Wow,
And
this
that
is
way
amazing.
I know, it's a great innovation. We're always making innovations here at Make That Game. So we hope you enjoy the new show on your as an extra little treat every week.
Yeah.
With that being said, Isaac, do you have any news or updates for us?
This says that Claire goes, okay.
All
right.
well, I flipped it around on you.
So No Man's Sky, I mentioned this last time, had an update. I've been playing No Man's Sky a lot, but there is a lot of controversy around it. Part of this update was redoing the inventory, and a lot of players are very upset about how the inventory was redone. Not only did they change a lot of graphics, they changed the layout, but they also made it so that instead of having 4 technology upgrades like per item, you could only have 3. So a lot of players saw a drop in effectiveness of their characters, and they got salty about it, and they demanded the old system come back into play. As far as I can tell, No Man's Sky, Hello Games is the development team. They are working on some kind of in between. They've got some beta builds that aren't available to the public yet that they're working on. We'll see how that plays out. I honestly was not expecting to see that this would be controversial. Following the theme, I've just got a bunch of drama news. This is the hot goss.
Okay.
I need to look this up. Sorry. In order to report this correctly. Yes. Helena Taylor, the voice actor behind Bayonetta, which is a character inside of a video game series of the same name, which is action shoot 'em up kind of game. So she has voiced Bayonetta since Bayonetta's inception, and for Bayonetta 3, even though the series had overall made millions and millions of dollars, they were like, hey, do this whole game for us for $4,000, which is far below a living wage for the amount of time and effort that it would take. And considering how much money the game series has made, kind of a slap in the face to the voice actor behind the titular character. So she has called for a boycott of Bayonetta 3, which does not involve her at all because of that spit in the face offer. So
wow.
I was going to play Bayonetta. It was on my list, but at this point it's kind of like maybe not. Maybe if the studio treats their voice actors like this, maybe not good news. In a more not good news, Overwatch 2 had recently announced a SMS policy. So in order to play Overwatch 2, they announced that you were going to need a phone plan to get SMS activation, like basically 2-factor authorization. And they were making it so that it couldn't be a prepaid phone plan, which was
I was
somehow.
gonna say, I feel like in this day and age, it's kind of like okay to assume someone has access to SMS.
Yeah.
But
yep. But what the controversy here is specifically that a
Prepaid,
lot of
yeah.
people have prepaid phone plans,
Right.
and this is
I
in
think my
some.
father still has a prepaid phone plan.
Yeah, no, a lot of people do for various reasons, but one of the reasons is, it's hard to afford a phone contract. So in some ways this is basically enforcing classism into the
Yeah,
game design of Overwatch 2.
for
Now,
sure.
it seems like they did step back on that a little bit based on the backlash that they instantaneously got as soon as they announced that. But Activision for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 also has a SMS policy, which is going to be much more lenient. It only applies to PC players, and it looks like it can have a prepaid phone plan. So interesting times we're going into where these companies are doing these kinds of things. Ostensibly, it's to combat botting and people like farming and then selling like max level accounts and stuff, but we'll see how it all plays out. And then
Okay.
finally, the last bit of news that I have is Warhammer 40k Dark Tides closed beta has come out. So you'll be seeing a lot of streamers playing that. One of my friends got the beta key, and as soon as work ended Friday, they have been playing ever since. No sleeping, no eating. They did report that it took them 7 hours to find pants, and
Sorry, in the game or in real life?
you know what? Not sure if they no in the game. Because as what Dark Tide is it is a party based action game where you take on hordes of baddies. If anybody has played Left 4 Dead or Vermintide, it's that style of thing where you have like 4 players and you just fight through ravening hordes of zombies, rats, etc., etc. And it also has loot. So first person Diablo 2 is what I'm gonna say. And that's my news. That's what I've collected from the gaming world.
Okay.
How about you, Claire?
Oh boy, yeah. So I will say both of these headlines are ripped right from a newsletter I get called The Hustle. So if you want to get
Oh.
these ahead of time, that's a great place to go. Or I might have gotten one from a different newsletter. I get a lot of newsletters that give me information because how else am I supposed to find it? I'm not on Reddit. Okay.
You could be on any other social media. I get all the Twitter goss
Oh, I'm not on
because
Twitter either.
I run the Twitter.
Yeah, I run the Instagram, but I don't look at it very much. I just post things. So
Ah,
sometimes I get lots of gaming releases from Instagram, but I don't get like drama. I don't get the hot goss.
okay.
So that being said, I do have. I guess it's also bad news. This is just a bad news show, I guess.
Oh no,
and it's not
we
that
didn't
bad.
plan for this.
So I mean, as y'all probably guessed, this is a pro-union podcast.
Mhm.
And there was a dispute in Nintendo with a QA from an American QA worker who alleged that they were fired for pro-union activities. So
Oh,
they've reached a
union
settlement.
busting.
It's yeah, Nintendo obviously said, well, that's not why we fired them, whatever. But yeah, so just keep an eye. I don't think we're quite at a Nintendo boycott level yet. Fingers crossed, because as we talked about on the episode with Megana, Nintendo is my favorite platform. Please don't be bad. And, the world just continues to divulge into chaos. I already forgot the other news. I just pulled it up. Oh, this is like a sidebar. Kind of, I meant to go into this more before we recorded, and I kind of forgot about it. But apparently, there's a brain. There's a brain in it. It's called Dish Brain, and it's lab grown brain cells, and it can play the game Pong. And it's just existed in science for like a while. I'm trying to look at my notes.
Like human brain,
So
rat brain. What are
it's
we working
both,
with
I
here?
think. Okay, so it's
Ooh.
hold on. So it's 800,000 brain cells, known as Dish Brain.
Okay, I love Dish.
It's
Brain.
mouse cells and human cells
Okay,
on top of an electrode array.
Cool. They have
Yeah.
made Skaven. I'm bringing it back. I mentioned Vermintide. One of the enemies is Skaven, which are rat men. That's what we're making. They're intelligent rat men.
I think what's wild to me is obviously like this is not like they didn't do this like over the weekend. And so it's just wild to me that Dish Brain has been a thing that people have been doing. And I didn't
Yeah.
know. Like, I feel like wouldn't we know that there's just in a lab just like some experimental brain cells playing Pong and like doing things? Like, that's wild. That's
So
like,
I've
I don't know,
heard
that's,
of them putting rat brain cells into like little robots and like navigating mazes with them.
that's wild. I didn't
I've
know
heard of
about
that a couple years ago. I've seen someone training a live rat to play Doom.
Oh, I saw you showed me that.
Okay, and I've not heard of the mouse human brain hybrid playing Pong. That's interesting.
Well, it does other things, I think. I think Pong is the new development, which is why I'm saying, like, why did we not know about this weird dish brain
Yeah.
situation? Because it's also like I feel like cloning and like DNA editing and like growing cells outside of a human in labs is so highly regulated that I'm really surprised there's human cells as part of it.
Yeah.
Like that's the wild part. Is that it's like they said they grew them from stem cells, and so it's just like that's wild. That's
Good.
the wild. So I
Technology.
thought I'd just bring that in for fun.
It is gaming related.
It is because the
Pong.
brain can game.
Does that mean I have to like rats now? Because my whole my whole I don't eat pigs as much as possible policy is based on them playing video games.
Yeah. Says the guy who just cooked us bacon.
Hey, ooh. Shh. Listen, there's some different. No, moving on.
Moving on. I mean, you already like rats. You don't eat rats. I think
That's true. I know that was the joke. That was the joke.
We actually we watched the Owl House. That's also news. If you didn't know, Owl House is back.
Oh, yes.
It's not gaming news, but we love it.
It's kind of gaming news. We can call it gaming news. I'm sure that there's someone make an Owl House game so that we can make Owl House an official part of the gaming.
I mean, we
news
could make that
segment.
game. That could be one of our games. But yeah,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any more news. What have you been up to gaming wise? What have you been gaming?
I've been playing No Man's Sky exclusively, I think. I can't think of another game that I've played. And I'm noticing that I'm falling back into the cycle that I mentioned way back in the Honks and Bonks that I did in one of the very early episodes, where I'm logging in every day because it's a job at this point. I send out my freighters, and then I collect what the freighters get. I read their reports, and then I send them out again, and then I go to my settlement and I solve any citizen disputes and collect what the settlement has generated for that day. The only thing besides that I'm doing is I really want to upgrade my freighter, because the last expedition I did really got me into the whole freighter idea. Because you can customize it and you can use it to jump around different systems. And I think it gets slightly better, but I can't get enough salvaged frigate modules.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been playing that, and it's probably a matter of time before I put it down until the next expedition comes out. But
that is the cycle.
Yeah, that is the cycle. That is the No Man's Skycle. Was that anything? Did I?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. How about you? What game has been ripping up your life?
I mean, I need to get back into it. I feel like I need a game that just like captures me,
You
like
should replay Link's Awakening.
I should. I've talked about that. Yes, I should do that. I think that'd be really fun. I'm still playing Oxenfree. As I said, there's like a time loop situation. I had Isaac Google it because I didn't want spoilers, but I also was like, what's going on? There's a lot of endings. Yeah. I will not get all of them, but he did find something that suggested if I play through 3 times, then that's kind of like the story conclusion-ish. Like it's going to give me the most kind of like satisfying like end if I don't do literally every ending, which is like, I don't know. I like the storyline. I feel like the replay is like too much of a replay. Like there's a couple different lines of dialogue and there's a couple things that happen that are different, but it's not so different that it's like super fun. And like, since it's a little bit better this time because I took so long in between playing it, so I didn't remember everything, but I'm kind of dreading going back the 3rd time because I will have just like literally just played it. And a new bonk for this game is so I never skip through dialogue very fast. I know a lot of gamers do that. Maybe this can be a deep questions for one of our episodes of like
Oh,
dialogue.
write that down. Write that down.
Yeah, I should. I will after this. But I don't skip through very fast because I like interpret. I won't say I read slow because I actually read books pretty fast, but I interpret video game stuff pretty slowly. Like it takes me a second to be like, okay, got it. So that wasn't really an issue for me playing the game the first time through because I'm reading all of the dialogue. But now it's the same dialogue. It's the same dialogue that I already heard. So I would be totally fine skipping that. Most games give you the option. Kirby, you can skip the whole pre-fight sequence if you want to because you've already done it 100 times, right? Yeah, I can't do that. I cannot skip through dialogue, and it's getting very annoying because I'm like, oh my gosh, I already had this conversation. I know exactly what we're doing. Like, this is so annoying. So that's frustrating. Geez. So I'm kind of like slogging through to finish it, even though I love the vibe. It's such a good vibe, and it's a perfect vibe for fall. Like it's spooky, it's nice. But it's just I don't know. I guess what I would say about it is I wish the replay was more ingrained in the game. Like I wish it was more different and that it was like a big part of the game versus like it feels like it's mostly optional but also not optional, if that makes sense.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Does your character know that they're in a time loop? Like
yes.
Okay, so like your character's like, "Wait, hold on. I've done all this before?"
Kind of. So when it restarts at first, there's a little bit like, "Wait, this feels funny," but then they kind of go with it. But then, like, some of the ghost characters are like, don't you remember? Like, that's the new dialogue, right? They're like, don't you remember? Like, what's going on? Don't you remember this? And
okay.
And so now I'm nearing the end of the second replay, and they're definitely like, no, like, you know, like, so there's like little things like, wait, I do remember this, blah, blah, blah. So they do know, but there's some kind of like mental fog there too.
Okay.
And it's also implied that your character has done this like hundreds of times.
Oh.
So. It's cool. Like it's a really cool story. I just wish there was a little bit more of a linear ending, I guess, versus like multiple like I want the story to close like I'm reading a book, and it's not. It's like too much of a choose your own adventure. I know video games are choose your own adventure, but like compared to Link's Awakening, spoilers ahead, you know, like I'm choosing things to do, but at the end of the day, it's always going to end with the fish, and it's all a dream, right? Like that's the story. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, the amount of choices that you have to like push things forward isn't that high. Like you can choose to go cut grass in the meadows for hours and collect a bunch of rupees. That won't progress you anywhere.
And it won't change the end of the story. And then you look at Life is Strange, where there are a few different endings you can get in each game. But it's not like it's like that's the ending you get from the gameplay you had, and you can choose to replay the whole game from scratch, right? But that replay is not part of the game. Like it's not ingrained in the characters that like I'm redoing this all over again. You just start. It's like rereading a book, right?
Right.
Except like you're gonna make a couple different things, and maybe you have a different ending. That's different to me. This is like a weird in between game where like there is a overarching story that theoretically should have an end, but also there's multiple endings. As if it doesn't? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's hard to describe. But anyway, I still recommend the game. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just this part. I'm in a little bit of a frustrating part of it right now. Mm-hmm. And then I played Bear and Breakfast. I'm going to talk about that on our regular show. So definitely tune in to listen to me talk about that. And yeah, other than that, I always say this, but I feel like it's true. I'm itching to play The Sims, but I always feel... I think I'm just bummed out that it's not Sims 2. But like when I tried to play Sims 2 fairly recently, like within the last 2 years, it doesn't hit the same as it did when I was in high school. I think it's just because there are a lot of things. I've grown as a person. There's also, you kind of notice like the weirder things about The Sims, and I've gotten so good at it, and like I know so many cheats that it's almost like not worth my time anymore.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
Well, no, it's the fun of it.
That's a good question. Let's talk about cheat codes sometime.
All right, I'm gonna write these and start writing these down. So
please write them down because I will forget as soon as
skipping.
the
Yep, dialogue skipping and then cheat codes. Yeah, these are good.
Boom, we're so good at this.
We're really good at this.
We're nailing it.
But yeah, so hopefully I'll play The Sims someday. Who knows? And then I can talk about Sims 4 because there's still a lot I haven't explored in Sims 4. But again, I'm going to say it. I'll say it every time I talk about The Sims. Why couldn't they just upgrade the gameplay, but keep the way you play the same? And what I mean by that is the way the neighborhoods are set up. And I'm not going to go into my deep dive, but like, if you know, you know. Okay? If you know, you know. Anyway.
Ick yick.
Ick yick. Yeah, so I think that's it for us for our news and updates. Thank you for listening. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at MakeThatGamePod. We are on email, MakeThatGamePodcast@gmail.com.
We're on email.
We are on email, okay? You can also find us on YouTube, Make That Game. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers so that we can make a custom URL. And that is all from us.
Now, I will say, for YouTube, it works best if you make that game in quotes. Otherwise, a lot of other stuff comes up. But if you put it in quotes, we should come up as one of the first results.
Or if you filter by channel, that also helps.
Oh, yeah.
I do that.
But once we get the vanity URL,
you could just go right there.
Yeah, it'll be so easy. So please subscribe. And then like the video, comment on the video. We love the comments. We love the comments.
We do love a comment. Comment on the video. Rate us on iTunes, all the good stuff. And, we'll see you next time for our full episode.
Bye.